Hello everyone and welcome back to Tea and Chat with Judy on this very sunny day. Put the kettle on, grab your favourite mug and join me for a chat because we're going to talk about one of Britain's greatest inventions. Now, it's not the steam engine, it's not the telephone, it's not even the humble Yorkshire pudding. We're going to talk about afternoon tea. Now, tell me, are you an afternoon tea person? Do you get excited about tiny sandwiches, warm scones, and far more cake than any sensible person could possibly eat? Or do you sit there wondering why anyone would pay good money for something they can make at home? Let me know in the comments because I suspect people have very strong opinions about afternoon tea. Personally, I love it. Love it. In fact, if anyone says to me, Judy, would you like to go out for afternoon tea? It's a straight yes, no hesitation. And over the years, I've been lucky enough to enjoy afternoon tea in some wonderful places, luxury hotels, country houses, and some truly beautiful locations around the world, such as Mandarin Oriental in Bangkok, the Savoy in London, and of course, Grantley Hall here in Yorkshire. And after all those years of eating far too many cakes purely in the interest of research, of course, I've come to a conclusion. And I'm going to share that with you now. I genuinely believe Grantley Hall serves the best afternoon tea in the world. And that is not a claim I make lightly, let me tell you. So put the kettle back on for a moment. Got some explaining to do. But first, let's take a little quick step back in time. Where did afternoon tea actually originate from? Well, we can thank Anna, the Duchess of Bedford. Back in the early 1800s, people tended to eat lunch quite early, you see, and dinner quite late in the evening. And apparently, somewhere around 4 o'clock in the afternoon, the Duchess started feeling a little bit peckish, which I can thoroughly relate to, can't you? So she started asking for tea, bread and light refreshments to be served in the afternoon tea. And before long, she began inviting friends to join her. And voila, the afternoon tea was born. But let's be honest, afternoon tea isn't really about sandwiches and cake. Well, not entirely. It's about slowing down for a couple of hours. It's about spending time with friends. It's about putting the world to rights over a pot of tea. And it's one of those wonderfully British traditions that somehow makes the world feel a bit better for a couple of hours. Now, before I tell you why Grantley Hall sits at the top of my afternoon tea league table, we need to answer an important question. What actually makes a great afternoon tea? Because here's the thing, you can't really compare a lovely garden centre room, tea room, with a 5-star luxury hotel. They're trying to do two different things. I've had some wonderful afternoon teas in small independent cafes and tea rooms over the years, but when I'm talking about the very best afternoon tea in the world, I'm comparing the luxury end of the market with the luxury end of the market. So what am I looking for? Well, perhaps surprisingly, starts long before the first sandwich arrives. I'm looking from the moment I walk through the door. I'm paying attention. How am I greeted? Does the welcome feel warm and genuine? What's the atmosphere like in there? Is the room light and airy or dark and gloomy? Is there enough space between the tables so that you feel you're having your own experience rather than sharing somebody else's conversation, however interesting that might be? Then there are all the little details that many people probably don't even notice consciously, but somehow they all contribute to the overall experience. Are the flowers fresh on the table? Are the tablecloths beautifully pressed? Very important. Is there a fire burning in the winter? Does the room feel elegant without feeling stuffy? And then, of course, there's the service. For me, great service makes things look effortless. It's an art all in itself. Your tea appears when you need it. Your cup is topped up or exchanged for a fresh one without any fuss. The very best hospitality staff have a way of making you feel looked after without making you feel managed. Then we come to the tea itself. Now, I know some people are quite happy drinking tea out of an old mug. And today, of course, I've got my favourite mug. But for me, afternoon tea deserves proper cups and saucers. It needs to be fine bone china, which keeps the tea warm longer than porcelain and makes that delicate little sound as you place the cup back on the saucer, like a little ding. And here's the thing, the very best afternoon teas aren't simply serving food, they're creating a memory. It's the attention to detail, the little touches, things you didn't expect, the feeling that somebody has thought carefully about every single part of your experience. That's what separates a good afternoon tea from an unforgettable one. And now, before Grantley Hall took the crown, there were two other afternoon teas that sat firmly at the top of my list. The first was the Mandarin Oriental in Bangkok. And if you've ever been to Bangkok, you'll know that the city can be wonderfully busy and very chaotic. There's traffic everywhere, people everywhere, constant energy that seems to flow through the whole place. It is wonderful. Then you walk into the Mandarin Oriental and it's as though somebody pressed a pause button. Everything slows down. The service is impeccable. The surroundings are beautiful. And the afternoon tea is served in the author's lounge in the heritage wing, where two beautiful grand white staircases showcase the room. If you're going to Bangkok, you need to go. So book it up. For many years, that was my benchmark. Then along came the Savoy in London, served in the Thames foyer with its glass dome, beautiful paintings on the wall, where you can hear the twinkle sound of the Steinway piano being played. Think glamour, history, it's all there. The service was fabulous, the sandwiches were exquisite, and the pastries were beautifully presented, and the Savoy sat proudly at the top of my list. And then one day, along came Grantley Hall. I have to say, completely unexpectedly. It was 2024 and I'd booked afternoon tea with lovely friends as part of my 60th birthday celebrations. I'd literally picked it out of the internet because the building looked beautiful. From the moment I arrived, I found myself paying attention. You pull into the driveway and immediately get the feeling that this isn't an ordinary hotel. The drive winds beside some beautifully maintained grounds with a stream, little waterfalls to your left, so pretty. I wanted to stop the car and take photographs before I even got to the hall. You pull into the car park and it hits you. There's piped music playing. Have you ever been to a hotel where there's piped music in the car park? I haven't. This was a first for me. Then you walk around the front towards the entrance and you'll pass an array of rather impressive cars parked outside. Bentleys, Ferraris. Makes me laugh. They're the sort of cars that makes my little Volkswagen Polo feel as though it should quietly park itself round the side and not draw attention to itself. And despite all the grandeur, Grantley Hall doesn't feel pretentious at all. Not for a minute. Not for a minute. And you'd think it would to the not so rich and famous folk just like me. There's a warm welcome at the door, smiles from the Grantley Hall hospitality staff. I should call them the Grantley Hall Little Gems. Really, whoever recruits staff at Grantley Hall picks the best of the best, truly. Their greeting feels genuine. They really want you to be there. And as soon as you step inside, there's a sense of calm. It's as though the outside world has been left beyond the gates. As you enter the reception, afternoon tea is served in the drawing room to the right. You'll know when you walk into a room and immediately think, yes, I'll be very happy sitting here for the next 3 hours. That's exactly how it feels. Put it this way, if the Duchess of Bedford could see this room, it's exactly where she would want to share afternoon tea with her friends. Because afternoon tea isn't just about what you're eating. It's about the people you're sharing it with. It's about the conversations and the memories you're creating. What makes Grantley Hall different is the attention to detail. Nothing feels like an afterthought. The Grantley Hall monogram china is beautiful. The tea stand with GH monogrammed at the top. Even the teapots remind you that you're not just having an afternoon tea. you're having a Grantley Hall afternoon tea. And when the tea stand arrives, the savoury delicacies are introduced by the wonderful hospitality staff in a way that makes you stop your conversation and pay attention. If you stop to think, behind the scenes, chefs have spent hours working out how to wow you with creations you've never tasted before and hours creating them. After the savouries, the cakes arrive with the scones, of course. They're not merely described to you, they are presented. Quite honestly, your taste buds will thank you for it, and you'll remember how beautiful it all was. And that's when it finally clicked for me. It wasn't the sandwiches, it wasn't the cakes, it wasn't even the beautiful room. It was the fact that every single part of the experience had been thought about. The driveway, the magnificent gardens, the music in the car park, the welcome, the service, the china, the presentation, the food, the atmosphere, every detail quietly working together to create something that felt effortless. And that's incredibly difficult to do. I've had afternoon teas in many exotic locations, but I never thought perfection was actually on my doorstep here in Ripon in Yorkshire. And that's why, after all these years of very serious afternoon tea research, Grantley Hall sits firmly at the top of my list. Now, will everybody agree with me? Probably not. Some people will say that the Ritz serves the best afternoon tea. You might have a favourite country house hotel that you like. Do tell in the comments, because I need to expand my research, obviously. You might be saying, Judy, you've completely forgotten about. And maybe I had. So do share. That's absolutely fine. Because afternoon tea, like so many things in life, is personal. But for me, after many years of travelling, many years of chatting with friends over cups of tea, and many years dedicated cake research, Grantley Hall sits firmly at number one. Anyway, that's my story. Put the kettle on, leave me a comment below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. And if you'd like to join me for more tea and chats, I'll be here on Wednesdays and Sundays, so don't forget to subscribe to my channel. I'll see you next time for another tea and chat. And remember, as my mum used to say, you only live once. Bye for now.